Welcome to This Explainer. If there's one thing we all absolutely hate, but literally cannot live without, it's our monthly power bill. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating business model that bridges two massive, multi-billion-dollar industries, essential utilities and direct selling. We are going to neutrally deconstruct the consumer products and the multi-level marketing structure of Think Energy and its network arm, Think Plus. We're diving deep into exactly what they're pitching to everyday consumers, the actual mechanics behind their claims, and how they're aggressively recruiting independent advisors to spread their message. Let's get into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with a fundamental Think Energy pitch, move into their AutoSave technology, explore their community solar strategy, look ahead to their virtual power plant vision, and finally, break down that multi-level business opportunity. Section 1. The Think Energy pitch. We'll look at how they sell a recession-proof product.
Independent energy advisors open up their pitch with this compelling, almost unanswerable question: how many people do you know who use electricity? Well, the answer is obviously everyone. I mean, think about it. Most of us would honestly rather sit in the dark eating cold beans out of a can than let our smartphone batteries hit zero or, heaven forbid, let our Wi-Fi go down. And that is the exact psychological leverage this pitch relies on. They establish right out of the gate that electricity is an absolutely essential recession-proof service. Advisors will emphasize that even in severe financial distress, like we're talking dealing with a job loss or facing a car repossession, people are still going to figure out a way to pay their power bill. It brilliantly positions the product not as some luxury item you have to convince someone to buy, but as a mandatory utility they already purchase anyway.
Now you might be wondering, how does a third-party company actually step in and sell you power in the first place? That brings us to energy deregulation. This is the legal groundwork allowing companies like Think Energy to supply power straight through your existing utility lines. If you're in a deregulated state, you literally have the legal right to choose where your actual energy comes from. It's kind of like buying an airplane ticket. The local utility company owns the airport and the runway. They maintain the heavy infrastructure, the wires, the poles, but Think Energy, they're the specific airline you choose to fly with. The runway stays exactly the same, but who you pay for your seat changes. And this is a massive selling point. Your incumbent utility company still owns the lines, they still respond to neighborhood outages, and usually they send you the exact same monthly bill. There's zero disruption. Think Energy just becomes a new line item for the supply portion of the bill you're already paying.
Moving right along to Section 2, AutoSave and Deregulation, the flagship technology. The real hook of this AutoSave technology is how it operates as a continuous automated cycle. Let's look at standard consumer behavior for a second. Usually, people heavily hesitate to switch energy suppliers because they are absolutely terrified of the old bait and switch. They worry they'll grab a promotional rate, totally forget to cancel it 6 months later, and end up paying way more than they would have with their local utility. Well, Think Energy markets AutoSave as a patented algorithmic solution to that exact anxiety. Every single month, behind the scenes, their software compares your personalized Think Energy rate with the local utility's default price. If Think Energy is cheaper, boom, the system switches you to them. If the utility suddenly drops their price and becomes the cheaper option, the software automatically defaults you back to the utility. So for the consumer, this creates a totally frictionless value proposition. You've got no sign-up fees, zero cancellation fees, no stress, and a mathematical guarantee that you won't pay more than the utility's standard rate. But listen, from a business perspective, the true genius of AutoSave is how it impacts the advisor. The company heavily markets this as a way to practically eliminate customer churn. If you look at the broader subscription economy, like Netflix or a gym membership, keeping a customer on the books for years is where the real money is made. Because the Think Energy customer never has to manually renew, and because they're insulated from overpaying, they theoretically stay in the system indefinitely. For the independent advisor, this is pitched as the holy grail, securing continuous residual income without having to constantly go back and resell the exact same people over and over.
All right, Part 3, Rethinking Solar Power, Bypassing the Roof.
The crucial contrast to understand here is the difference between community solar and traditional solar. Look, traditional solar is an amazing technology, but it has massive, sometimes impossible barriers to entry for average folks. First, you generally have to actually own a home. Second, you need a pristine credit score, or you have to be ready to finance a $30,000 system. And third, you actually need a roof that faces the sun and isn't blocked by giant trees. Think Energy bypasses all of this friction with community solar. This completely democratizes the market. Suddenly, apartment renters qualify. College students in townhomes qualify. It's totally free to enroll, and there is zero rooftop installation required. You simply subscribe to a portion of a massive local solar farm that generates clean energy for the grid on your behalf. It's that simple.
And the financial incentive for the consumer? Super straightforward. By enrolling in these state-supported community solar programs, customers are promised a guaranteed discount of between 5 and 25% on their energy supply for up to 25 years. Now just think about what this means for a Think Plus advisor. Suddenly, their addressable market goes from a tiny handful of wealthy homeowners to literally anyone with a pulse and a power bill. They don't have to walk away empty-handed just because a potential customer rents a duplex or has a shady roof. They have a free, money-saving product that practically anyone in a participating state can say yes to.
Section 4. The Virtual Power Plant. Let's look at their ambitious 2026 vision. To really grasp the company's momentum, you have to look at their corporate evolution. Things really kicked into high gear in 2021 when Oaktree Capital, which is this massive, globally recognized asset management firm, invested $100 million into CEO Michael Falquist's vision. That is a huge vote of confidence from Wall Street. It completely bridges the gap between a scrappy startup and a well-funded corporate player. That capital injection led straight to the acquisition of Think Energy in 2022, followed by a total rebrand and relaunch in 2023 that seriously boosted their operational capabilities. But all of this infrastructure, all of this investment is driving toward one highly anticipated milestone, the March 1st, 2026 launch of their proprietary home battery program.
So why home batteries? Because they are the key to creating what is known as a virtual power plant. To understand why this is a game changer, consider that our current power grid is over a century old. It was built for electricity to flow in just one direction, from a giant power plant straight to your house. Plus, in that traditional system, a massive percentage of power is actually lost just in transmission over those long distances. Factor in the rising demands of AI and the catastrophic grid failures we've seen recently during extreme weather in places like Texas or California, and it's clear the old system is really struggling. A virtual power plant flips the script completely. It connects thousands of decentralized private home batteries using smart software. These batteries store energy locally when it's cheap and abundant. Then, when a massive heat wave hits and grid demand skyrockets, these home batteries instantly feed that stored power back to the grid. The grid literally pays for this support, which lowers cost for everyone, stabilizes the neighborhood, and gives the homeowner backup power during an outage. It is a total paradigm shift.
Finally, Section 5. The Business Opportunity. Let's unpack the actual compensation plan driving this forward. At the helm of all this, you have an executive team bringing decades of combined experience from both direct selling and the traditional energy sector. Michael Falquist drives the corporate vision, Charlotte Gervers manages the complex dynamics of field leadership, and Adam Smith oversees sales enablement and marketing. This specific mix is absolutely crucial. By combining network marketing veterans with genuine energy sector experts, the company is actively working to legitimize a business model that, let's be honest, the general public often views with a bit of skepticism. Together, they've built a compensation model that is heavily focused on long-term relationship building rather than just quick one-off sales.
Now, the true draw of this compensation plan goes way beyond a simple sign-up bonus, though those bonuses are definitely there. The real financial engine is the deep multi-level structure. Advisors can earn residual income paid out through 10 distinct levels of referrals, plus up to 12 generations of coded pay once they hit the management rank of director. To get new recruits moving fast, they heavily push what they call the 5-3-5 system. Basically, a new advisor is guided to acquire 5 personal customers, recruit 3 new business advisors, and then help those 3 recruits get their own 5 customers, all within their very first 30 days. Ultimately, what this means is that an advisor who successfully builds a large team could potentially earn residual monthly income from the utility bills paid by thousands of people they have literally never even met.
And here's a really interesting twist. Think Plus also weaves local philanthropy right into their compensation model. They offer up to $10 in community cash for every single customer referred to Think Energy products. But this money isn't just pocketed by the advisor, it gets pooled into a fund that allows local teams to finance hands-on community projects right in their own towns. Consumers and new recruits today demand corporate social responsibility. They want to know a company actually stands for something. This community cash is a brilliant retention tool. It builds local goodwill, it encourages organic team bonding, and it creates a powerful narrative that the business is about significantly more than just a personal paycheck.
And that brings us right back to the incredibly provocative question at the very heart of the Think Energy pitch. As our aging, highly stressed power grid struggles to keep the lights on with record-breaking modern demand, a massive infrastructural shift is already happening right under our noses. Will your future energy continue to come from a distant, centralized utility plant, or will it come from a decentralized, shared network powered by the intelligent batteries of your actual neighbors?
It's a fascinating, highly lucrative vision of the future, leaving us all to wonder exactly how energy distribution and the complex multi-level businesses that profit from it will inevitably transform in the years ahead. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the hidden systems that power your world.